Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. You can also find this and all other episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports on iHeartRadio. Straight and full Detroit and Michigan sports coverage 100% of the time. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. Also, you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips, online at facebook.com/TaylorGatorPhillips14. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips's Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips's Detroit Sports Group. And follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips with 2 L's.
This is episode 132. Lots of stuff to talk about. Going to talk some Wings first, then the Spartans and the Pistons and the Tigers. The Wings had won 6 in a row, and then they really choked one away against the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-1. Peter Mrazek has now allowed 9 goals in his last 2 games. The Red Wings absolutely disintegrated in the second period. They pushed the auto self-destruct button on themselves in that second period. Darren Helm scored the only goal for the Red Wings. That tied it at 1. That wasn't nearly enough. Cedric Paquette scored the hat trick. And the Red Wings were in first place going into that game, 1 point ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Atlantic Division, and they handed it to them on a silver platter. And that is beyond disgraceful the way I view it. They handed the first place spot to Tampa Bay on a silver platter by handing the game to them the same way. Just terrible. It's like playing like a true last place team to me. It's just disrespectful to the Detroit Red Wings name, franchise name. I hate to break it to you, Red Wing fans, but that's the way it is. Their defense and their goaltender Mrazek keeps choking lately. Brendan Smith, Kyle Quincy, Jonathan Erickson, who's still a bust. They keep taking dumb penalties, and they keep standing around defensively and not do a darn thing. Henrik Zetterberg being on the power play has really choked on the power play. I'm telling you. I remember over a decade ago, the Red Wings used to be the best hockey team in the world. Always maintaining their first place lead in the National Hockey League standings. In the entire league. The last time the Red Wings had a conference that were on top of the conference was like either in the 08 season or the 09 season. That was a few years ago. And in 08 they managed to win the President's Trophy and just zoom with ease to the Stanley Cup Championship. In 2002, they won the President's Trophy and had to go down a tough road to the Stanley Cup, and they still won it. Now let me compare both of them to here. To this present moment. To this season. The Red Wings had first place in the conference in their grasp, and they dropped the whole thing. They dropped the entire ball. They dropped their entire lead by falling flat. Not only by losing, but by falling flat. Effortlessly. They played sloppy in the second half. Mike Babcock, before tonight's game, told the media, quote, "I think Tampa is as skilled of a team as there is in the Eastern Conference. I think we're getting better. I think we're getting better as a team, but we have to continue to be better, and we're going to have to be real good tonight." Unquote. And the Red Wings weren't good at all. Not one fraction of an ounce of good. They absolutely choked to death. They choked the mucus and the blood out of themselves. In that game. And they choked. Not only did they choke the game out, they choked out their conference lead and their division lead as well. Beyond disgraceful. I mean, they're still a good team. Still a very good team. Better than they were the past 5 seasons. The other previous 5 seasons, but man, they weren't even playing with any desperation whatsoever. And that just pisses me off. That is so disrespectful. Not only to me, but to the Detroit Red Wings franchise name at its entirety. To whom much is given, much is expected. Nothing came. It was complete garbage. The Lightning have beaten the Red Wings in both the first 2 meetings now. First one at the Joe in a shootout, and now a 5-1 rout with both teams chasing each other for the division lead in a very close race. 5-1. At least one of those teams had a choke in that one-sided kind of game. The Red Wings were that choking team. You can't argue against that. You just can't. The Red Wings head back home to play the New York Islanders. Saturday at 2. Then they have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off, 4 days in a row, before heading out to the Mountain Time regions and play the Avalanche in Colorado at 9 on Fox Sports Detroit or NBCSN. Then on Saturday, the Red Wings head to Glendale and play the Arizona Coyotes at 8. I still feel stupefied by this 5-1 bloodletting. I still am. I feel PO'd. How in the hell could a top team in the Red Wings choke like that and not even come back in the second period and not even come back in the third? I did hear on Twitter from All About Michigan at Pure Mich Sports says Babcock, misspelled Bobcock, it's Babcock, to re-sign with hashtag Red Wings NHL. You know what that means. Mike Babcock, actually, they're saying Mike Babcock will re-sign with the Red Wings. And I have found 0 sources that follow up on that. I also looked at an article there it is from the hockey writer on Twitter on why Detroit's fourth line may be their undoing. The role of the fourth line. This is from Prashant Iyer of the Hockey Writers, Hockey News and Insight from January 29th, 2015. When talking about Detroit's fourth line, I'm focusing on setter Luke Glendening and wingers Joachim Anderson and Drew Miller. This season, Mike Babcock has utilized the fourth line in a variety of ways, but most prominently, he has utilized them as a defensive unit tasked with stopping the opposition's top scoring line. Theoretically, there are pros to this strategy, most notably the fact that the Wings are able to shelter superstars Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg by providing them more ice time against a lower quality of competition. On the surface, this strategy has worked as Glendenning's line has faced the highest quality of competition, but is yielding only 1.77 goals in 60 minutes per 60 minutes at 5-on-5. You also see Glendenning's face-off percentage at 55.4%, and your opinion is swayed to believe that this fourth line is effective. The fourth line reality. While everyone focuses on the goals against for the fourth line, very few are talking about the other side of the puck, the other side of the rink, technically, and that's where the issue exists. For the season, Glendenning has been on the ice for just 17 5-on-5 goals, despite playing more than 500 minutes. On 5-on-5, at 5-on-5. If he was able to play the entire 60 minutes, the Wings would average a paltry of 2.01 goals at 5-on-5. However, the problem runs even deeper than just the goals scored versus goals allowed. The Wings become one of the worst puck possession teams as defined by Corsi when the fourth line receives too much ice time. I decided to identify the total time the Red Wings have spent at 5-on-5 this season, followed by the total time Luke Glendenning has spent on the ice at 5-on-5. I then calculated the percentage of total even strength minutes available that he plays. I then stratified his data into games where he played more than 25% of the total even strength minutes against games where he played less than 25% of the available even strength minutes. I then decided to take a look and see how the Red Wings' overall stats were affected by the amount of ice time Glendenning received. The Corsi and TOI numbers reported are for the team and not Glendenning's on-ice Corsi and TOI numbers. Time on ice. That's what TOI stands for. Here are the games where Glendenning has played more than 25 of available 5-on-5 minutes. 10 total time on ice in those games at 5-on-5. 468 minutes and 68 seconds. 468.68 minutes. Wings 5-on-5 CF per 60, 41.8. CA per 60. CA per 60, 63.2. Goals for, 2.69. Goals against, 1.79. Now the games where Glendenning played less than 25% of available 5-on-5 minutes. 38 games. Total ice time, 1,769.63 minutes. 54.5 CF per 60, 38.4 CA per 60, 2.03 goals for per 60, and 1.90 goals against per 60. The 63.2 CA per 60 in games of more than 25% ice time, 5-on-5 ice time, again, would rank the Wings second to last in the NHL, with only the Buffalo Sabres allowing more attempts. So Mike Babcock has got to start evening things up more. He's got to even up everybody's limited ice time. That's the one thing that he needs to do, that he should do. The Griffins, the Red Wings AHL top farm affiliate, shut out the Iowa Wild 6-0 in Iowa. Teemu Pulkkinen scored a hat trick. Landon Ferraro, Jeff Hogan, and Anthony Mantha each also got a goal. Jared Careau made 38 saves. That's good for the Griffins. Very excellent game played by the Griffins. Very horrific game played by the Red Wings. Moving on to Michigan State basketball, the Spartans came to Nebraska and whooped on the Cornhuskers 71-51. Brandon Dawson scored 17 points and picked up 11 assists and 2 blocks. That's a double-double. Kadeem Jack, 17 points and 7 rebounds. That game was scheduled to start Tuesday. And it got postponed due to a heavy amount of snow. But it did not affect anything in the game. It took place in Piscataway, New Jersey. That's where Rutgers plays, the Scarlet Knights. Bryn Forbes added 18, led the team in points, led the green and white in points. Spartans started the second half on a 20-2 run and shot 51% from the field the entire game, and limited the Knights to 29% shooting. The Scarlet Knights, that is, of Rutgers. Travis Trice added 10 points and 5 assists before leaving late in the game, seemingly favoring his left arm. Kadeem Jack for Rutgers scored 17 points, as I just recently mentioned. Rutgers now falls to 10-11 and 2-7 in the Big Ten. The Spartans improved to 14-7 overall and 5-3 in the Big Ten. The Green Machine hit 8 of 20 from three-point range, including 4 threes by Bryn Forbes. The Spartans welcome in the Wolverines of Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines, on Sunday. And for Rutgers, they visit Indiana on Saturday. Spartans, on the downside, turned the ball over, gave the ball away 17 times, second most this season. But according to this ESPN article that I'm reading here, But Rutgers stinks, especially at the free throw line right now. They have been having issues trying to sink free throws at the Scarlet Knights. Moving on to the Pistons, speaking of basketball, they're now 0-3 after losing Brandon Jennings to a ruptured Achilles tendon. And I'm hearing more and more fans using that injury as an excuse, as a complete excuse for them losing.
Crybaby! How long are you going to keep whining like a child? You're just a crybaby, a coward!
I think the Pistons can still win games. Jennings' injury is a devastating blow to this team, but Stan Van Gundy's still got this. He can make plans. Their last game in Philadelphia was a major fluke. They started 24-4. They started the game 24 by leading 24-4. And they give that game away on a silver platter to the Sixers. Pistons need to make some trades, but they only gave up 89 because the Sixers are one of the worst teams in the NBA. The Pistons were only 2 of 30 from three-point land in that game. They just need to shoot. They just need to shoot better from downtown. And try not to worry so much about Brandon Jennings. If they start knocking down their own shots, especially from three, I think they'll be good, and I think they'll win enough games to make the NBA playoffs. They're not NBA championship contenders yet, even with Brandon Jennings. They're a good team with or without him. Pistons welcome in Josh Smith and the Houston Rockets Saturday at 7:30. Pistons stand at 17-30, while the Houston Rockets are 32-14. Then on Tuesday they welcome in Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat, who are 20-25. And that'll be the last game before the NBA All-Star break. Matt Deary of Detroit Sports 105.1 told me that none of the Pistons are making it to the All-Star game since Brandon Jennings got injured.
That is not what I want to hear. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
Therefore, I am not watching the NBA All-Star Game. None of the Pistons are there, and there's nothing at stake in that NBA All-Star game. Period. By the way, the Pistons still need to play better defense. They've given up over 100 points per game in most of their games, and the new hand check rule being in effect in the NBA is no excuse. Don't give me that kind of crap.
Shut up, you idiot. What? Oh.
Moving on to the Tigers. According to Bleacher Report, who are ranking MLB's top 10 World Series contenders heading into February, the Tigers are ranked number 9 by Zachary D. Reimer, an MLB lead writer, yesterday, January 29th, 2015. We're used to the Detroit Tigers automatically getting labeled as a title contender, but now, not as much. With Max Scherzer and Rick Porcello gone and Justin Verlander coming off a really bad year, Detroit's typically strong rotation looks weak. But keep a note that Justin Verlander gained 20 pounds of muscle and says he's feeling a lot better than he has the past 3 or 4 years. He is trying to improve. And with Miguel Cabrera slow to heal following ankle surgery, you wonder if things will get even worse after his modest, by his standards, 2014 season. Nonetheless, Baseball Prospectus and Fangraphs rightfully have the Tigers pegged as the team to beat in the AL Central. That has much to do with how, even despite the question marks, they're still pretty solid. David Price's presence means the Tigers' rotation still has at least one ace. The return of Jose Iglesias and the addition of Anthony Ghost should greatly improve their up-the-middle defense. Re-signing Victor Martinez and trading for Yoenis Cespedes means there will be support around Cabrera in the middle of the lineup. And in Nick Castellanos and Shane Green, the Tigers have 2 breakout candidates. And heck, even Detroit's bullpen could be solid in 2015. You know, if Joe Nathan bounces back, Joaquin Soria stays healthy, and Bruce Rondon recovers from Tommy John surgery to be a fireballing threat. Don't forget, they have Joel Hanrahan, they have Alex Wilson. They got Alex Wilson in the Porcello-Cespedes trade, and they also picked up free agent left-handed reliever Tom Gorzelany from the Milwaukee Brewers. Do the Tigers have bust potential? You betcha, but they should once again be a quality team, and they're not without the upside to go deep into October. Hopefully, Brad Ausmus can manage the team a lot better than he did in 2014. Start using his brains a lot more for a change. Huh, Brad? Dodgers were ranked first, by the way. Speaking of rankings, the Tigers farm system has been ranked dead last by ESPN.com's Keith Law. He said, quote unquote, they trade what they get, which is the reason why their farm system has been ranked last in the majors. 30th. They traded away 5 of their top 10 prospects from last year, including their number 3, 4, 5, 8, and 10th ranked prospects, The number 1 prospect from last year's list, Nick Castellanos, is now playing third base for the big league team. In addition, number two prospect Daniel Fields had to deal with a wrist injury for most of last year. In the Tigers' defense, Dave Dombrowski is not trying to build the number 1 farm system in baseball. He's trying to build the number 1 team in baseball, a team that can compete and win a championship. Law realizes this, quote unquote, they are clearly trying to win the World Series every year. That's what he said of Dave Dombrowski and his staff, the general manager. Law is either writing the truth or trying to upset Tigers fans, or maybe that he is writing the truth is what is upsetting Tigers fans. He's just writing the truth. He's not trying to upset Tigers fans. Whoever wrote this on Detroit Sports Nation, that's Don Drisdale, just earlier today. Other notable rankings include the World Series champion San Francisco Giants, who are ranked 29th, the Minnesota Twins ranked 2nd, and the Chicago White Sox ranked 12th. In case you were wondering, the number 1 ranking went to the Chicago Cubs. Let's hope that the last thing we will be talking about when all is said and done with the 2015 season is the Tigers farm system. This is about winning a World Series, and Tigers fans are educated enough to know that. That was very well written by Drisdale of DetroitSportsNation.com. So what are your thoughts? Leave your comments on here on this episode 132 on Spreaker and iHeartRadio. I will sign off now. This is Taylor Phillips saying TTFN, ta-ta for now. I will talk to you on Blog Talk Radio Sunday at 11, and then back here on Spreaker next week. TTFN, ta-ta for now.